Good evening. I would like to call this meeting to order. The City Council meeting for April 3rd, 2025. Will you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Reed,
Here.
Vice Mayor Middleton. Here. Councilmember Woods,
Halfway out the door. Here, I'm sorry.
Councilmember Tinsley,
Here.
Councilmember Primoroso.
Here.
All right. Thank you so much. Before we proceed with election results, I'd like to ask the council to step down from the dais so that we can present departing council member, I hate to say that, Carl Woods, with a token of our gratitude for his years of service to our residents and our community. Thank you so much, Carl, for your service.
I'm glad I dressed up.
At least a jacket.
Carl, on behalf of our community, our council, manager, our city attorney, and our staff, we are so thankful for your time in the service before you got here, your time as a police officer, and especially for your time as a city council member. The community will not be the same without your leadership. Thank you.
I hope so. What do you want me to do? I got nothing. I mean, I hope I did a good job. You know, I think I've been working for the city since I've been like 22, 24, somewhere in there. I never planned on being a council member. So, you know, I got nothing to say. You know, I hope I did good for the city. I hope I did, you know, I made a lot of relationships. I shook a lot of hands, lots of hands, starting with Ron's. Ron and I started out with a handshake. And, you know, I've said so much over the years, now I'm nervous, you know, for the first time in 9 years. But I got nothing. John, have fun. No ego. Open your heart. Trust your staff. Patty still hates me. She's probably going to hate you. It's okay. You know, Patty and I got a swear jar. It's in the truck. Takes like 3 people to lift now. I've been dropping bombs for a long time. But I was always just myself. You know, sometimes outspoken, sometimes a little argumentative with council, but, you know, you're one representative that's representing every 60,000 people, 38,000 registered voters. You're going to, you know, you're going to have an opinion that might differ from council, but the staff's going to educate you to help you make your choices. And by the time it's time for you to make your choice, you'll make the right one. So have a good time. It's not a war zone. I mean, this is a fabulous city. And the good thing is when I got here, there was so much growth And one of my stupid questions to Ron as the council member was, okay, we've done all this growing, now how do we keep people here? It was just something that just kind of came out of my mouth. And Jesus, man, we've done nothing but build parks, we've done soccer, we've done baseball over and over. We're now doing hockey, the community center, Cressy. I could go on, and it just seems like I was a part of so many great votes. And the term limits, we could have been hung for. Hockey, not so good, but we're gonna run thousands of children through that place a year. And one of the things that I always kind of like voted on was what's best for the children, because that's kind of like the foundation of any community, the families. And, that's kind of like what I did. So listen, Natalie, you're fantastic. Extreme Americans, Chief Step, my chief forever, going back so long. You guys touched my heart. Keith, you and I were like snot-nosed kids when our uniforms were hanging off of us. It's just a beautiful thing, So I can't wait to get out of here. I'm going drinking, and that's it. So Maria and I were here, pretty much the same time. And we've always had she's always touched my heart. We've had a special relationship for being semi-divided when we got here. But I built bridges quick, man. Like, it was quick, except for Patty. Other than that, I built big bridges quick. And the people around here that want to build bridges and buildings, they're going to get with you. And I always did, I'm going to say this out loud, they're going to get with you. And one of the things they used to tell me, they'd be like, Councilmember Woods, how can my staff get with your staff? And, we need to talk about this. And I would be like, well, I'm going to be at Spoto's for happy hour at 5 o'clock. If you want to come over and have a cup. I swear to God, I'd get with Ron, take notes, get educated on whatever project, so I would be educated. But I didn't do stuffy meetings. I'm like, I'll be here, you want to have coffee? That's how I did it. And it worked for me. It was fun. No ego, let my guard down. And I just wanted to, be open. And it helped me. So don't have any walls, don't build any. Enough advice with you. You're good. So you already know community service, so this is just an extension of that. Council's just a slim piece of the pie. The picture's big, and we just do the final vote. All the work is going on long before you even know it exists. So I'm gonna go, man. I gotta go. So, do I gotta certify the vote? Do I do anything? Do I gotta certify the vote? Do we have to certify the vote? Am I in on that? Yes, we do. Yes. Let's do it.
All right. Oh, he's not going to leave yet, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So next is the election with declaring the results from our municipal election. If Patty, who does like Carl, could please read the title.
Resolution 19, 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, declaring the results of the general municipal election held on March 11, 2025, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
Excuse me. May I please get a motion and a second to approve Resolution 19, 2025?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 19, 2025. Did I get that right?
Thank you, sir. All right.
Second.
Second by the Vice Mayor. Do we have any discussion regarding Resolution 19, 2025, declaring the election? Seeing none, let's take it to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much.
Right on, John. Good for you. I'm going. Bye.
I put a card in.
You put it for number 3, Madam Mayor. Did you want it for number 2?
I wanted it for number
For 3? Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Sit down.
Am I not done?
No, you're not done yet.
Down.
By the mayor.
Some things never change. County Mayor Maria Marino, nice to see you all. 906 Windermere Way. I live here. This is family. This is home. When I left, it was Carl who gave me that award you just got. Thank you, Carl. I know that Yes, it was a rocky road to start. I'm going to cry. Holy heavens. It was a rocky road to start, but it was not a rocky road to finish. And you did a phenomenal job, and you did what family does. And this is family. John, this is family. Oh my God. I'm sorry, but thank you for your service. And good luck. Don't lose our numbers, because we're still here, but enjoy what's coming in the future.
Thank you, ma'am.
You did a great job. Keep going. Hold on 1 second. On my way out the door.
You can't give him what's, yeah, okay. Don't give my beer bread away.
Thank you, baby.
Oh, Patty.
You're gonna miss me. Patty, get your big.
Don't forget your, wait, no, Carl, your gavel. After that, okay.
If I could please ask Councilmember-elect Kemp to join me over here, please. Do you want to participate?
May I have my family join me?
Yes, please. Ready? I, please state your full name,
I, John D. Kemp,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government
the Constitution and government
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office
that I am duly qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
perform the duties of council member
perform the duties of council member
on which I am now about to enter.
on which I am now about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Yeah, no, yeah, no. Of course, of course. Well, please allow me the opportunity to welcome Councilmember Kemp to our city council family. We're glad to have you here, and we will all do our best for the city. Do we have any other council members who have anything they'd like to say this evening before we dig in?
I do would you like to say a few words?
Me? All right, there we go. We'll take that as my first rookie move, but no, I thank you for all the voters for electing me, and I got to say, I don't get scared easy, but this is a pretty scary thing. You're representing people that you're making decisions for their lives, so I take that very heartful and truthful, and I will honor that.
Thank you, sir. All right, any other council members?
I do. I would like to also say something since we both went through an election together, and obviously elections are one of the tough parts of the job. However, I feel it's a gift because we get to speak to so many residents. We get to get out there and hear and listen to our residents, our business owners, and we have an opportunity to to listen. And to me, I'm grateful and humbled for that opportunity. So with that said, I do want to publicly thank the voters for believing in me and for believing in John. I want to thank you and welcome Councilmember Kemp to our city council. I am again truly humbled by everyone's support. I want to thank my campaign team, my friends, my family, my parents who still, I cannot believe, are willing to hold signs for me on election day after 4 different elections. God bless them. I'm so grateful for them and to still have them as part of my life and my biggest supporters. My husband, who has been here, my children, who have always been so supportive as well. I want to thank all of them, my friends, my family, and of course my past council members, who some are here tonight, and my current colleagues on the city council who were also very supportive during this election. And last but not least, I also want to thank staff. I'm truly grateful for all of you guys when I've asked for information during the election, when I was out speaking to different communities and they had questions or comments or anything. I do want to thank staff so much for giving me the information to pass along to those communities in such an expeditious, timely manner. I'm very thankful for that and very appreciative for all of your support. And I look forward to collaborating with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council members have any words about themselves or their new council member? All right, let's dig into the city's business, shall we? Next is the reorganization of mayor and vice mayor. Is there a motion for the appointment of mayor?
I'd like to nominate Chelsea Reed, please. She has been an incredible leader, and our residents admire her and trust her, as I do, and I think all of us do. She should finish her last term as mayor, as she has momentum and connections with the TPA, the Florida League of Cities, and other committees and boards. She's also been working on transportation and mobility with other municipalities in the county. And I could go on and on about her accomplishments and all she's been doing for the city. And I think this would be a positive for the city to keep her on in her last term. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. May I get a second to approve this nomination? All right, well, hearing none, I'll make a second. So do we have any discussion?
Yeah, I'm going to chime in. Dana, those are all great points. And Chelsea, as I said last year, to elect you for a mayor 3 years in a row is pretty amazing. And all your experience on all the different committees, all the boards, whether it's the state level, the county level, the city level, you've been amazing for the city to take us to the next level. I'm not going to support you as mayor tonight. I'm going to support Marcy to be the next mayor of this city. And my suggestion is essentially we have to have life after Chelsea, which I know is going to be hard for us to deal with. But your experience now to pass that on to other members of this council before you rotate out in 12 months, to me, is valuable. And people need to learn and sit with you and get educated on the things that you do as you roll through these committees for the last 12 months. So I have nothing but the utmost respect for you. I always have, I always will be. But I just think it's time that we have another person roll into the mayor role to kind of move things forward and learn from your knowledge before you leave us in 12 months because of term limits.
Understood. All right, so that said, thank you so much, Vice Mayor, for your nomination. I would like to make an alternate motion then. I would actually like to make a motion that Dana Middleton becomes the mayor. And I'm looking for a second.
I'll second that.
All right, let's bring that to discussion.
My comments will be the same as far as what Marcy has done on her tender up here through 5 different elections, being very active in the community the last 6 months during this recent election, reaching out to the voters, hearing the agendas and the ideas and what's going on. And again, for her learning on where you are and where we need to be after 12 months from tonight when you roll off. So Dana, again, is another wonderful person, a business leader, somebody who's been in the community as well, but I'm not supporting her as mayor as well, because I think Marcy is better qualified for that role right now.
All right,
I didn't know if that was a motion or if that was a comment.
that was discussion.
That was just discussion, because we had a second, and I wanted to lay my opinion out there again to everybody where I stand.
All right, well, I'm going to speak a little bit, which is to say I hate to say I. One thing I don't know if anyone's noticed in the few years that I've had the opportunity to sit here, very rarely does the word me or I come out, because we are a team. And the one thing that hasn't happened as much as I had hoped it would be for council to join in Tallahassee, to join in the monthly league meetings, to join in to the national things that are happening here. We have a tremendous amount taking place in the city that we don't talk about because of sunshine, whether it's building a train station, whether it's passing a bill at the state level, or even advocating in Washington, D.C. Generally speaking, that is done by one person, and that needs to change. I am thrilled with whatever the decision may be. I think this is a worthy council. We really are a family. I do support Dana as either becoming the mayor or staying on, simply because this does need to be a year of transition. Never before has the city of Palm Beach Gardens had 3 years of tax being lowered in a row. Never before has Palm Beach Gardens had a placard at every important meeting, whether it's Florida League of Cities, Palm Beach County League of Cities, TPA, Southeast Regional Transportation Committee, National League of Cities. We haven't had that spread before, and you can see it in the city now. And because of that, I do not support Marcy coming in as mayor. She has not come to DC. She has not come to Tallahassee. She's the representative for the Palm Beach County League of Cities, and I don't think I've seen her at the monthly meetings held in different locations. That gives me pause. People are used to meeting with myself or the vice mayor, and in order to have continuity, it makes sense for either me to stay or Dana to step in so that she can do what I did when Rochelle was my mayor and stay beside me and learn what needs to be learned, so that all of council actually shows up and comes to all of these things, which hasn't happened. People come to ribbon cuttings, people kiss babies and shake hands, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and it's not always easy. It is exhausting. I didn't sleep in my bed but one night the last 3 weeks. So I love what you guys are trying to do. I understand the relationship here. Marcy, you have 3 more years on council. I have 1. And I want to finish what I started. So that's my discussion. Do we have anything from our new council member? This is the part where, once there's a first and a second, we have a discussion about it before we take a vote.
Yes, soaking it all in, and ready for the vote when we want to vote, so.
Okay. So Max, if you could remind me, do we go with the first motion or the second?
You had a motion and a second, and then an alternate motion was offered, so the alternate motion would be heard first. The alternate motion was for Dana Middleton to be mayor.
All right, so let's call it to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion fails. So we have the second motion.
That's correct. And the second motion was for Chelsea Reed to be mayor.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Aye. All right. Do we have any other ancillary motions? I have a feeling someone has been talking about things and planning, so why don't you go ahead and share with us, Bert?
There's no planning going on, Mayor. The plan is I would like to nominate Marcy Tinsley to be our next mayor.
I'll second.
Let's call it to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, motion passes 3-2. Congratulations, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. And Chelsea, you've done a tremendous job representing the city of Palm Beach Gardens. I know I'm going to have big shoes to fill. I appreciate it. I've done it before. And I have participated in a lot of events, a lot of ribbon cuttings, a lot of chamber events. There's no point in spending taxpayer dollars and all of us going to Tallahassee when we had excellent advocation up there with you, with the League of Cities, and I appreciate everything that you've done for our city. I truly do.
Good luck.
Okay, let me just get organized here for a minute. Okay, do we have any additions, deletions, and
We
modifications?
have to actually appoint a vice mayor, ma'am.
Oh, I apologize for that. Appointment of vice mayor. Do we have any nominations?
I'm going to nominate Dana Middleton to be the vice mayor again.
I'll second that. Okay, call a vote. Do we have a motion and a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Resolution 20-2025. Do we have to read the,
Resolution 20, 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, appointing the mayor and vice mayor for the city, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
thank you.
And so we do
And
need
can I
a
get a
motion and a
motion?
vote on that. Yes, ma'am.
Can I get a motion to approve Resolution 2025?
I'll make a motion to move Resolution 2025, appointing Marcy Tinsley as the mayor and Dana Middleton as the vice mayor.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, we have a first and a second, calling a vote. All
Aye.
in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 5-0. Do we have any additions, deletions, and modifications?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Announcements and presentations? We have one announcement, or one presentation, I should say. Mr. Kevin DeLallo is here to give us an update on the Allen B. Miller Medical Center. Welcome.
That's a hard act to follow. So I do have a presentation, and as soon as they call it up, Patty put me on a very restricted time limit. So she called me and told me 10 minutes. I'll go through it in 10 minutes, I guarantee you. First of all, let me thank everybody. Thank the council. I think we started this journey back in 2020, and Chelsea and Marcy, you were both here at the time when we started that. And Mr. Ferris, let me thank your staff for everything that they do for us, and just the cooperation from the city to work with us. It's been just a fabulous journey. We really appreciate everyone from Natalie and the police and the EMS and everyone else that have worked with us, fire marshals, to help us get through this journey and get to where we are now. The journey is not complete. We're still on this journey. So if we can advance to the next slide, I'll start off, or do I do that? Do you advance the slides, or do I? There we go. Well, I'll start off with our new CEO, who is here tonight. Gina and I have known each other for probably 25 years. We were competitors when I was at Wellington and Gina was at JFK many years ago. She's going to do a great job. We're just so happy to have her as part of our team and moving forward. And she'll be here for questions after the presentation as we go forward. But welcome, Gina, and thank you for joining us tonight. Again, next slide. I'll go through these very quickly. Some of the council members were not here when we proposed the hospital, and people asked us questions. Who are UHS? UHS is a company that's been around for 45 years. We're a company that was started in 1979. The unique thing about UHS is the person that started the company in 1979 is still the chairman of the company, was recently the CEO of the company for 45 years, and the hospital is named after the chairman of the company. So the Allen B. Miller Medical Center is named after the chairman of the company. If you go to the next slide, if we could. We're a company that has two divisions, acute care and behavioral health. And as you can see, we have about 30 hospitals on the acute care side, over 335 on the behavioral health side. Behavioral health in this market, we have 2, Coral Shores and Sandy Pines, which is in Tequesta. Some of you may have heard of those hospitals. And our acute care hospitals, we're in 37 states around the country. And next slide. All right, our principles are simple. Our founder, Alan Miller, is patients, patients, patients. But you can see some of the principles of our company, and we've held these principles for 45 years as a company. We have over 100,000 employees in our company. You're very familiar with the site. Go through these very quickly. The site is 35 acres. We can stop right there because I want to just mention these are the homeowners of the Homeowners Association. And I know several of you have helped me through some issues with the Homeowners Association. Again, a very collaborative effort between the community, the city, our company, and everyone else involved with getting through how do we introduce the hospital to this community. And it's been embraced, and it really has. And we really thank the city for helping us get through some of those issues. Next slide, please. I have an amazing team. The amazing team, everything from architects to planners, of which Ken Tuma is here in the audience today, to everyone from the logistics people. All these people here, their one SAT is greater than my 2 SATs that I took back in college. So they're very smart people. They really help me out every day. And these are the people that really make things work on the site. Key services that are offered in our hospital will be orthopedics, cardiology, general surgery, GYN. Our emergency room will have 24 rooms. We'll have radiology, robotic program, stroke program. We'll open up with 6 operating rooms with room for expansion, and also 2 cath labs with electrophysiology capabilities as we move forward. Just some sites on the inside of the hospital. We're about to finish some ceilings and floors on the 2nd to the 4th floor. Bathrooms are interesting. If you drive by the site, you'll see a lot of white pods on the side of the hospital. Those are bathrooms that were actually constructed in Texas, and we shipped them here. One of it was time, 2 is quality and consistency. When you have an organization like that puts bathrooms together off-site, it makes it a lot easier to make sure we have consistency in the product that we're producing. We can go to the next one. Our exterior, if you drive by the hospital, you've seen our windows going up, or caulking, our windows, our framing. We should have windows in by the end of this month, and it'll be complete. Water treatment systems as well. To install a lot of the equipment that we have in the hospital, it's essential we have the purest water that we possibly can. And part of that is because we run over 100,000 lab tests prior to opening the hospital for QC. It's a very dynamic procedure that we do, and to QC all those pieces of equipment as we go forward. So we're in the process of doing that, and actually the lab equipment is not even delivered to the hospital until they verify the water quality as we move into the hospital. Next slide, if we could. We mock up rooms. Obviously, when we mock up those rooms, we make sure that everything fits in the room. We make sure that all the outlets don't conflict with other things that are in the room. We make sure that doors swing the right way and they don't interrupt patient flow, and that certainly that we have enough room in the patient room that we can optimally take care of patients when physicians, doctors, and technicians are in the room. Again, just more updates. We anticipate our dry-in to be by the end of this month. Our exterior rooms in July. Our permanent power will be at the end of May. Our HVAC system, which currently in the central energy plant right now, every day there's over 100 people in that central energy plant that are constructing and connecting all those utilities into the hospital. Our landscaping by next year, and we anticipate getting a CO by May 20th of 2026. Just some outstanding items that you will see coming to you as a council. The signage package, which we're talking to Natalie and her team as we speak, And we have an application in to redo some of our signage package. You will see, and we already have applied for our art in public places. So you'll see that coming to the council at some point. That will include the water fountains and also the park benches that we've proposed and some of our art that we'll be showing. And I'll show you some of that as we go forward on our presentation. Let's go to the next one. We will have concierge suites. So the 7th floor will be concierge suites. Currently, we'll have 6 rooms on the concierge suites. There'll be separate family rooms with patient rooms. And the concierge suites have a separate elevator that will go to the 7th floor from the emergency room. So a very different type of look. You can see some of our rooms and some of the concierge suites. They'll be large, they'll be roomy. The hallways that will lead into some of those rooms in the hospital. And we go to the next one. We can see some of the waiting areas and also some of the patient rooms. Each concierge room will have a patient room and then also a family room that will be attached to it as well. Let's go one more, and this is also that's the family room that's attached actually to the patient room. All righty. I know this is high on everyone's list. How many EV stations do we have on site? We'll have 40 EV stations. 22 will be located at the hospital campus. 18 will be located on the medical office building. This is our vendor, it's ChargePoint, and they're Class 2 chargers, and they will be available to the public. So the people of Alton, I'm sure, will appreciate that. I don't know how we'll deal with them parking there overnight, but we'll have to figure that out. Art in public places, you're going to get an application that's coming your way. We came up with I think will be an icon in your community. We're going to call it the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life will be either the history of UHS or the history of Alan Miller. And if you go to the next slide, you can see there you go. So that's a better picture of the Tree of Life. This will be in the front park of the hospital. One of the things that we talked about when we first designed the hospital and designed the site plan, we committed to putting a park in front of the hospital, and in that park we'll put our art, and the art will be considered the Tree of Life. And if we go to the next slide, we'll see some of the bluebells that we'll put leading to the Tree of Life, and there'll be water features. So when you get the application for the art in public places, there'll be a tree, there'll be bluebells, and there'll be fountains for you to consider. But again, I think it's going to be an icon. I know I've talked to several of you about how do we want to set this up, and I think this will just be something that it will be a destination, not only a piece of art, but a destination for the city. There will be a medical office building on site. Actually, we have a site plan for 2. Applications for that, for permitting, will be going into the city around June or July of this year. It's 80,000 square feet. Will include primary care and specialty care. It will have some diagnostic capabilities and some surgical capabilities as well in the medical office building. If we go to the next slide, that's a bigger picture of our medical office building that will be on site. That's not the name of the medical office building, but I thought it was appropriate to put his name on that one too, but we'll probably call that Medical Arts Building or something. And that's it. I hope I didn't exceed the 10 minutes. I'm right on time because she threatened me with something you don't want to know about. So, but any questions that you have about our project?
Anybody have any questions?
No, it looks great. Thank you for sharing and bringing us up to date. It looks fabulous.
You're very welcome.
I'd like to say that it looks beautiful and that, again, you continue to be an amazing representation of how to work with council, with staff, and residents. And I have to really applaud you for all of the work you've done.
Thank you.
And I can't keep saying it enough, back even in COVID, where you're standing on people's balconies to understand what their view would look like of a hospital behind them. And it's nice to hear now all of those people are in so much support of everything you're doing. You've gone above and beyond.
I can tell you we had an HOA meeting probably about a month ago, and it was, I thought, again, everyone was very supportive of the project. The community has and we just can't wait to open it up and offer our services to the city.
Thank you very much for everything, and also for continuing to be a member of the Alton community and participating in their questions, answers, in their HOA meetings. And I saw, as I drove by, there's a lot of white tents, or a couple big white tents. Are you having a topping ceremony or a party or something out
No,
there? that we're-
people ask me about those tents all the time. We have currently on site almost 500 workers. We'll top off about 750 workers when we're fully inside with all the build. So those tents are that's their lunchroom.
Oh, okay.
And they eat lunch there every day. Some days it's hotter than others, as you know. But no, that's their lunchroom, and they love it. They all park on site there, so when you drive by, you see all the cars on there, and that's all the workers' cars. So when you have 700 people on site, it's going to be pretty congested.
Great. Well, thank you for the update. A lot of people are asking, timing, and this gives us an opportunity to be able to answer some of the questions that we have, and I appreciate. We look forward to seeing it come to fruition.
And so do we. And again, I want to just thank everyone here for all your help. And again, thank the city and Natalie and her team and fire chief and everyone else. Tremendous team you have here. And I hope, other cities that I go to and I do the same thing, I just wish I had a city like this one. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Now we're moving on to comments from the public. I do have a few comment cards for items that are not on the agenda. I'm going to call first Noel Martinez and then Mike Taylor. Please come up to the podium. Is Noel here, or did he leave?
I'll go first, you go second.
So we'll have Mike Taylor then come to the podium. After Mike Taylor, that'll be Darlene. Can't read the last name. Outledge will come second. Please state your name, address for the record.
All right. Just so, my name is Michael Taylor. I go by the Armed Fisherman on YouTube. I live in Port St. Lucie. My address is 123 Constitution Way, or whatever address you want to put on there. I'm not hard to find. But anyway, congratulations to I believe it's the council member, correct? Congratulations. That oath that you swore to, I really hope that you embrace that in understanding our constitutional rights. And I'm not saying that you've done anything wrong, and I'm not trying to say anybody here. I'm actually here to say some really nice things, and I really want to start with, I believe it's the attorney. A good friend of mine, his name is Jeff Gray. Honor your oath. He came here, stood out front, had a sign that said, "God bless the homeless," and they trespassed him. But the attorney, they sent a letter to Mr. Gray saying that his trespass was rescinded, that the police are now going to go under training so that they have a better understanding of our constitutional rights. Before I found out this, I was kind of, a little hesitant. I was going to be like, I'm going to give you a hard time. But you know something? Today's a good day because we have change. And hopefully that change resonates with a lot of you saying, hey, you know something? With the lawyer, your attorney that rescinded all this, hopefully that's going to be the next change. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. But I hope that's the next change. All we can expect in this life is change. We don't stay 16 forever. The one thing I've done in my life is learn something. And whatever transpired, I don't know, behind closed doors, but something was learned. And now, because of the Constitution, and that's why I'm here, my entire family's all about, they've been in the Marines, the Air Force, the Navy. I've got family members that died in World War II. The Constitution means so much to me, and when I saw what I saw, but now that the attorney's done what they've done, I congratulate you, and that's why I'm here being very peaceful, because the last time I was here, I was a little harsh. I was just a little bit harsh. So I congratulate you, and I hope that we move forward. And I hope that nothing ever, hopefully none of this would ever happen again. Because I don't want to drive an hour. I don't want to come from Port St. Lucie, But thank you, congratulations, and I hope that you keep moving forward in a progressive manner. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor, for your comments. And next, we have Darlene Outledge. I apologize if I mispronounced your name.
Hi again, I'm Darlene Rutledge, 904 Silverleaf Oak Court. My request is that we have 2 tennis courts at the Oaks, and if you look in all the area around us, everybody's painted them to be pickleball courts as well. We were supposed to have, I think, 25 courts over there, and they moved them to Lilac. And I'm just asking if you could paint those courts so we could get some use out of them as tennis courts and pickleball courts. Would I know an answer? Not today, but I mean.
Right, yes, thank you. I appreciate your comments, and we will definitely have our recreation team look into it.
Okay, would you think that would be possible at all? Have you heard any talk about this?
I have not. This is the first time that this has come up, so we will definitely have our recreation team look into it.
Okay.
But thank you. This is your opportunity to bring these types of things to us. So thank you. I appreciate
Yes,
it.
just have them look around the area because everybody's really done it. And it's a gorgeous, really pretty park, and it really
is.
gets no use.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you for your
Thank you.
comments. And next, we have Joe Russo.
Good evening, Joe Russo, 48 Somerset Terrace, Palm Beach Gardens. I'd like to congratulate Marcy and John on their election wins, and that was really great for all of you. And John, Patty's, don't listen to Carl. Nobody has a problem with Patty. She's the best. And John, I don't have anytime you want to, you can always call me, but I can tell you the best advice that I could give you is never forget that you work for the people. And also remember that this staff is the best asset the city has, and they make all of you look good. So I know you'll do well, and I heard what you said earlier, so you'll be fine. And it's not that tough a job. It's kind of easy. The people in the city of Palm Beach Gardens are awesome, so you'll be fine. Also like to congratulate Marcy as becoming the mayor, and thank former mayor Chelsea Reed for all that hard work. I know it wasn't easy, and all that you did, boy, that was really great, so thank you. And one last thing, on behalf of the Children's Healthcare Charity, which I serve as president, which is a major recipient from the PGA Tour for the Cognizant, I'd just like to thank the city for all that they do, and I will tell you, it makes a big difference for the charities. And the PGA Tour has told me, maybe not, you shouldn't repeat it to everybody, but they said this is the best city that they work in. So thank you staff for doing that, and thank all of you, appreciate it.
Thank you, former Mayor Russo. I appreciate your comments. And next, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. Thank you. Apologize. City Manager report.
Thank you very much. It gives me great pleasure at this time to call Cheryl Stewart, our Human Resources Administrator, to the podium. She has a report on the Florida Blue Health Insurance report that we have for plan year 23-24. It's quite impressive, and we're very proud of the results of this plan.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Thank you very much. Cheryl Stewart, for the record, Human Resources Administrator. Florida Blue has been providing our group medical insurance for the city since 1998 and has been a leader in providing this kind of insurance for over 70% of government employees in Florida. They offer an extensive access to health care with high usage in network providers for employees, families, and retirees. And I'm pleased to report that Florida Blue's network discount saved $21.5 million in medical claims last year. In addition to that, the city receives annual wellness funds to support health initiatives totaling $460,000. So far this year, including $60,000 this year, and as a result, employees continue to exceed Florida Blue's benchmarks for wellness and cancer screenings. With the support of council and the city manager, we've been able to provide employees health insurance benefits that far lead other local governments, with low monthly costs for coverage, low copays for medical office visits, medications, and many more services. To touch on an overview of our claims, which were incurred between October of '23 and September of '24 and paid through December of '24, the plan supports relatively young population, average age 33, but the age group of 50 and above continues to drive about half of the total cost, with ages 60 and 64 being the highest percentage of spend. Claims have steadily increased, with key drivers being behavioral health and musculoskeletal conditions. And as a result of 8.5% savings, we've been able to drive emergency room use to other locations such as urgent care and telemedicine, as well as the usage of our employee health center in order to manage rising costs. To touch on high-cost claims, which are those that are over $75,000, the increase has been about 25%, totaling $2.6 million. And of a note, our claims have basically been about the same cases year over year, with 1% of members driving 21% of spend. Touching on our pharmacy plan, total cost being $3.3 million, up 7%. Looking at brand and specialty, covering about 60% utilization, which is 91% cost, and 85% utilization for generics, which, to note, generic use continues to create savings to both the members and the cities and helps limit the impact due to inflation. To touch on some health trends for our group, 12% of our members have at least one chronic condition, which is actually below Florida Blue's government benchmark of about 14%, and this rate has stayed steady. The percentage of members with good blood sugar control jumped up 46%, but it's likely being managed due to medication. 15% have hypertension, which is lower than Florida Blue's benchmark of 19%, but it still represents a 5-time higher risk for heart failure or stroke. Just to point out that the only area of prevalence increase compared to last year was coronary artery disease, which increased about 12%, and it represents a key area that Florida Blue, Premise Health, and HR will continue to work on promoting screenings, nutrition, blood pressure checks, exercise, and other wellness activities to help reduce and prevent disease. So in summary, based on our partnership with Florida Blue, we're able to provide top-tier health care and significant cost savings. With this affordable insurance, we're controlling our health care costs, saving tax dollars, and very much importantly, continuing to show the city's commitment to supporting the health and well-being of our employees so they can better serve our community. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? No, that was very interesting. That's a huge savings. Thank you for sharing that with us. Do we have any other updates?
Couple other things. Friday, March 21st, we held an annual vendor open house at Sand Hill Crane Golf Course. Our purchasing director, Kumra, has hosted this event for 11 years. At this event, we had the Inspector General, John Kerry, and a representative from the Ethics Commission, Elizabeth Martin. We had 250 vendors at this event. We had 11 municipalities and government agencies in attendance, allowing these vendors to find out how is the best way to go about getting involved in the purchasing process of all of these different agencies. That's 250, the largest we have ever had. So kudos to Kumra, and thank you very much for doing this on an annual basis. We appreciate that. The other item that I have is I've been asked by our District 1 Commissioner, Mayor Maria Marino, to serve on the County Administrator Task Force. I'm not sure what that means just yet or what I'm getting into, but it is a review process for the solicitation of a new county administrator. So they will be taking that under advisement at their April 8th meeting, I believe, at BCC. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Well, they would be lucky to have you, so I'm looking forward to that. And next, we are moving on to the consent agenda. Do we have any items that need to be pulled from the consent agenda? No?
I don't have anything to pull, but I do want to thank staff. If you look at the consent agenda, which I know our council does, but anyone out there in city council world that isn't reading the agenda like we all do, there are a couple of grant applications that are really important. Just another opportunity to show how often the city actually listens to what residents want. They want transportation alternatives, and so this is the beginning of the process to apply for some really, really difficult grants to apply for. So I want to thank staff for taking the time to make sure that there's less coming out of city residents' pockets in the efforts for transportation alternatives.
Thank you. And thank you also for participating in the TPA, which helps with these grant opportunities. So would the clerk then read the title?
No title. I'll make a
Title.
motion to move consent
Then a
agenda.
motion and a second if possible. Do we have a motion?
Made a motion.
You made a
Yeah.
motion. Bert made the motion, Dana seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Okay, now we are going on to the public hearing portion of our agenda. Tonight, we are holding quasi-judicial hearings on the following cases: Resolution 25, 2025, site plan approval of entry feature at Panther National Boulevard, and Resolution 26, 2025, site plan approval of the Esprit at Avenir Clubhouse. This means that the City Council is required by law to base its decision on the evidence contained in the record of this proceeding, which consists of testimony at the hearing, the materials which are in the official city file on this application, and any documents presented during this hearing. The City Council is also required by law to allow cross-examination of any witness who testified tonight. Cross-examination may occur after the staff, the applicant, and the other participants have made their presentations and will be permitted in the order of the witness's appearance. It is necessary that anyone who testifies at the hearing remain until the conclusion of the hearing in order to be able to respond to any questions. If you plan to testify this evening or wish to offer written comment, please fill out a card, which is over there, and give it to the city clerk. The city clerk will now swear in all persons who intend to offer testimony this evening on any of these cases.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you, Patty. And first, we have Ordinance 2, 2025. Would the clerk please read the title?
Ordinance 2, 2025, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, amending the City of Palm Beach Gardens budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, and ending September 30, 2025 inclusive, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date for other purposes.
Thank you, Patty. We have a staff presentation. I guess I need to open the hearing.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. For the record, Arian Panzak, Finance Administrator. Tonight is the second reading of Ordinance 2, which is our annual budget amendment. There have been no changes since the first reading, and I'd be happy to present again, or if you'd like, I can answer any questions.
Does anyone need a presentation? No? Okay.
So moving on. Just wanted to mention that staff recommends a motion to approve Ordinance 2, 2025 as presented on second reading and final reading hearing.
Thank you. And I don't have any cards on this item. So I'm going to close the hearing and call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Ordinance 2, 2025, as presented on second and final reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll bring it back for any discussion. Does anybody have any discussion? No? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Arian.
Thank you very much.
And next, we have Ordinance 3. Would the clerk please read the title?
Ordinance 3, 2025, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving and adopting the citywide mobility plan and citywide mobility fee technical report, consistent with the provisions of Section 163.3180 et sequentes Florida statutes. Concurrency, specifically subsection 5I with regard to transportation concurrency, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date for other purposes.
Thank you, Patty. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask for a presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council. My name is Joanne Scurria, Assistant Director of Planning and Zoning, and I'll be presenting Ordinance 3 and Ordinance 4 this evening. With your permission, I'd like to present a combined presentation.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So to start with some background, in 2019, after many years of data collection, research, and coordination, the City Council adopted Ordinance 16, 2019, which was the city's first mobility plan. And it included a fee component as well with Ordinance 19, 2019. And that was a very big moment in the city. We were able to move away from a traditional system and move into the future.
Instead of going into presentation mode, just try to flip through the slides and see how that works. I don't know what's going on right now, but we can probably move through that way. So just page down this way.
No problem. Okay. Okay. So in 2020, following the adoption of the mobility plan in 2019, the City Council adopted Ordinance 8 and Ordinance 9, implementing the changes through the comprehensive plan and the LDR amendment. The amendments to the comprehensive plan included the new mobility plan and provided for routine and evaluations and updates, which was in progress over the past year. And we also established a process to review improvements in accordance with our new mobility quality of service system. So for implementation of the mobility plan, developers must demonstrate compliance with the city's mobility quality of service standards and submit a site assessment study to demonstrate that the traffic standards are met. Through this process, developers have constructed or improved sidewalks, pathways, bicycle facilities, and planned for future transit service. And the city has also been able to apply for and leverage grant funding. So on the screen, you'll see several projects that have been constructed since the mobility plan was approved in 2019. Campus Drive included shared use paths and a very nice roundabout. We've had enhanced pedestrian crosswalks on Holly Drive. A project that was recently completed is a sidewalk and bicycle lane on Kyoto Gardens Drive, and we have some projects coming up, including a two-way bicycle track on Burns Road, which will be the first in Palm Beach County when it's constructed. A very good question that has come up as we've updated the plan is how are projects selected? And in order to maximize the mobility fund dollars, we look for grant opportunities. And one of the most fruitful sources out there has been the TPA's Transportation Alternatives Program. And you'll see a snip of their scoring criteria on the screen. And we look at that scoring criteria to select projects that are in our adopted plan, which also provides additional points to select projects. In addition to the grant funding, we also have our capital improvement process, which is a part of our budget adoption, which is also a public process where mobility plan improvements can be included in the city's budget. Okay, the city has been fortunate to receive recognition for the mobility plan and was also, we received an award through the Smart Growth Partnership, which is a local organization, and the U.S. Department of Transportation recognized the city and our TOD plan and our mobility plan in a national case study, and that was a national publication.
Just closing it out and restarting all the PowerPoint. Let's see here. Which where are we at? Right here.
Couple, I can get there. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. Okay, try that one more time. I'd like to take a moment to highlight some separate but parallel initiatives. We have the city's TOD master plan that was adopted in 2020 by the City Council as well, and that has received a lot of positive reaction from the development community. We've had a lot of projects approved in our TOD district, and the city was also awarded a federal planning grant for the development of a comprehensive safety action plan through the Safe Streets for All grant. In 2023, the City Council adopted Ordinance 5, 2023, which adopted an update to the impact fee schedules for parks and recreation, police, fire, and public buildings. And that update included a streamlining and modernization of the traditional impact fee use categories, and that will be carried forward in the proposal this evening. The City Council also approved a finding of extraordinary circumstances to address high rates of growth and inflation. The fee schedule for these categories became effective April 1st, 2024. And that brings us to the proposed update. The 2019 plan was effective for lands of the city east of the Beeline Highway, and what's proposed in Ordinance 3 is a citywide mobility plan. But backing up to 2024, we had a year full of coordination, public workshops, and field data collection. So we had the whole city divided into zones, and we made staff teams that included members from many different departments, and we were able to use a web-based application developed by our own GIS department to collect data in the field and identify projects to be added to the new mobility plan. And then we also were able to review a list of projects with many departments of the city, including the engineering department, police department, community services, streets and stormwater, and our city traffic consultant. We also had workshops in May of 2024 for the residents and the business community. So we had a lot of engagement throughout that process, and those were very nice events. So Ordinance 3, 2025 includes a proposed citywide mobility plan that'll include all lands within the city's municipal boundary. The proposed mobility fee will be assessed citywide with the exception of the Alton PCD and the Avenir PCD. Those projects have existing proportionate share agreements, and they will remain to operate under those agreements. Similar to the impact fee update, the calculation methodology and use categories for all impact and mobility fees will be consistent, and this will result in a streamlined assessment. Currently, multiple schedules are utilized. And on the screen, you'll see some examples of the schedules that the cashier currently uses to assess fees. So we'll be going to a more streamlined system. And with that, I'll turn it over to our consultant, Mr. Jonathan Paul of New Urban Concepts. He is a leading expert in mobility and impact fees in the state of Florida. Stop to restart here, I believe. Okay, there we go.
Thank you, Joanne. Jonathan Paul, principal of New Urban Concepts, and here to present this evening the city's mobility plan, mobility fee. There's a lot to cover. I'm going to go through this relatively quickly, but if there are questions, please feel free to ask. It is a complex subject, especially for our new council member, the first hearing, dealing with something that is pretty significant, both within Palm Beach Gardens itself and even statewide. So the basis of the mobility plan, which was adopted by the city back in 2019, is how do you move people, whether they want to walk, bicycle, ride transit, or drive their vehicles. The mobility plan does not favor bikes over cars. It's not anti-vehicle. It says, how do we provide opportunities and freedom of mobility for all residents and businesses within Palm Beach Gardens? And so that's really the overall emphasis of the plan, is how do you move people around the community safely and efficiently. The current plan was adopted back in 2019. It was known as an alternative mobility funding system per Florida statute, and it only applied to areas east of the Beeline Highway. Just really quickly, a mobility fee, some people more often know it as an impact fee, is a fee paid by new development only, not existing residents, not existing businesses. It's not a tax. It's a one-time fee when new projects come in and apply for a building permit, and it helps to offset their impact to the transportation system. So the city was the first entity in Palm Beach County to actually adopt a mobility fee back in 2019, and it has to be based on a technical report that goes into all the legal requirements and the traffic impacts of an individual development. Since that time, there have been a number of communities throughout Florida that have moved forward with adopting mobility plans and mobility fees. Without getting a whole lot into it, transportation concurrency, which is historically how governments have regulated new development, has been severely limited by the legislature in terms of what local governments can and can't do as it relates to when development occurs. So one of the alternatives is a mobility fee that provides local governments greater opportunities to fund transportation other than just focusing on road capacity. This past legislative session, there was a House Bill 479 that was adopted, and this was pretty key for the city. Back in 2019, the city asserted, and Florida statute allowed, that the city had the right to adopt its own mobility plan, its own mobility fee, and to move away from transportation concurrency and road impact fees. Well, historically, Palm Beach County has administered transportation concurrency within the county, and it's also administered road impact fees, and it's required all of its municipalities to participate in that system and to collect that fee. In 2019, the city said, statute authorizes this, we want to take advantage of it. I guess it's still ongoing, but there's been back and forth with the county for the past 5 years now related to that subject. And so the legislature this past session came out very definitively and said, once again, any local government, city or county, has the right to move beyond transportation concurrency and has the right to adopt an alternative transportation system. And they went even further and said, in addition, there's only to be one fee collected within a municipality, and it's to be collected by the entity that issues building permits. And lastly, that fee has to be based on a plan of improvements, i.e. a mobility plan. That was all roughly in there before, but now it's in there very explicitly in terms of statute. And so we're here before you this evening. They've changed it from alternative mobility funding system to alternative transportation system, but it basically reemphasizes what Palm Beach Gardens did 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago now at this point, and what we are presenting to you this evening. The one big difference is this is now applying county or citywide. So this is going out to the western portions of the city, in addition to the areas that are in the east portion of the city. And now will be a uniform fee assessed throughout Palm Beach Gardens. This will replace transportation concurrency administered by the county citywide right now. Right now it's it's been back and forth on the east side of the Beeline, but it will be no longer part of the review system for any development within the gardens per statute. And there will be a single unified mobility fee charged to all new development within the city of Palm Beach Gardens. I will say on the city's website, this is a pretty detailed subject, So there are 3 actual documents. There's a mobility plan that has lots of pretty pictures and maps and goes into the detail of the actual projects itself. Then there's a technical report that gets into all the legal bases for adopting a fee. And then we also have what's known as an extraordinary circumstance study, which we'll get into a little bit further, which was another step that has to be undertaken if the city council wants to move forward with adopting the fully calculated fee. The city is the fastest, well, with the exception of Westlake, which is relatively small and has a low base to grow with. But in terms of overall growth, the city is the fastest growing municipality within Palm Beach County. It's likely going to continue to grow over the next 20 years, both in terms of traffic impacts and population and employment within the city. As Joanne mentioned before, there have been a number of projects that have been funded. It takes a little while for a project to actually get approved, adopted on a plan, then go through design and secure funding. So you're starting to slowly see these projects come online, and you're going to see more and more of them either funded through the mobility fee or funded in cooperation with DOT, the Transportation Planning Agency, and the city. And so there's a lot that's going to be coming out of the ground. And the city's been very successful in terms of securing funds and matching grants because of its mobility plan. These are just an example of some of the funded projects over the next 5 years within the city of Palm Beach Gardens, and they are quite significant. They include road projects on the state and county facilities. They include bicycle lanes. They include shared use paths. There's a number of facilities that are moving forward that have already received funding. So this is the plan itself. We refer to it nebulously as a mobility plan, but it's actually 4 separate plans: a roadway plan, a bicycle plan, a pedestrian plan, and a transit plan. There's a lot of detail, and I'm not going to go into each one of the projects, but essentially the overall plan looks at what are the projects that are funded today, what are needed in the future to meet transportation needs, what are proposed by new development, and then are one that are needed for enhanced connectivity. So there's a couple of roadways to the south here that would make up, or the east, some government center connectivity over by the facilities maintained by Palm Beach County. There are also some opportunities to 4-lane RCA Boulevard within the TOD area with all the growth that is expected in there. That is a major corridor that's needed for mobility. And then we've also identified opportunities that, as you're seeing in your community today, there's a lot of redevelopment. You know, these buildings just don't stay static, especially some of the ones that are maybe were built in the 50s or the 60s. They're running over their useful life, and new development's going to come in. So we've actually identified a few new roads that if and when redevelopment occurs, maybe there's an opportunity to add new connectivity so not everybody has to go out onto alternate A1A or PJ Boulevard, but how do we enhance mobility within the city's TOD area? And this is just an example. Right now, RCA Boulevard is a 2-lane roadway. Portions of it have a center turn lane, portions of it don't. There is enough right-of-way to look at it ultimately as a 4-lane divided corridor with either protected bicycle lanes or buffered bicycle lanes, in addition to shared use pathways. So if you think of some of the new corridors that have been built in Avenir or Alton, it would look very similar to that, a 4-lane boulevard concept. And those are also the types of corridors that you see around the mall, absent the multimodal facilities, which is something that the city is planning for a number of those corridors. We've also identified an off-street multimodal. Off-street is basically the term for pedestrians, but there are people that both walk and bicycle on these facilities. The city already has an amazing parkway system of trails on city, state, and county roadways, and this really helps to further extend those off-street facilities throughout the city. One of the things we have done in the detailed list is there are a few key corridors where there are gaps. Either you have a very beautiful 12-foot wide trail that then goes down to a 5-foot sidewalk right adjacent to the roadway, or you don't have any facilities at all. And we think that those really should be a priority. There's not many of them, and there's really some opportunities for the city to close some gaps within the system. One example of a corridor that is really underserved would be the military trail north of Kyoto. It's got a very large right-of-way, roughly 40 foot of grass, and has a 4-foot sidewalk on it. You go a little bit north of Elm, and then all of a sudden it becomes a beautiful 8-foot pathway with landscaping and trees, and it becomes a facility that's much more conducive to people walking and bicycling on it. But the portion that's out there today is not. So this is actually one of the projects that the city has applied for a grant from the TPA, and I believe has funding for that. So this is one idea of what that facility would look like. In addition, Prosperity Farms, south of PGA Boulevard, between RCA and Burns, there is no facility on the west side of the roadway. There's a sidewalk on the east side. There's a drainage ditch with lots of overgrown landscaping. But there are a lot of people that will actually want to go from Burns up to PGA. They have to cross over Prosperity, then go up on a 5-foot sidewalk, then cross back over to get to either RCA or PGA. We believe there's an opportunity to put in a raised boardwalk along that corridor to, one, provide a safe facility from adjacent street traffic, and two, is an innovative way to get around the drainage canals that are out there. And then also there's some opportunities people are still going to cross to access transit, is to introduce some raised crosswalks and some raised medians along that section of roadway. One of the areas where you have a lot of people walking and bicycling today is at Garden Lake and Garden Square, just north of the PGA and Military Boulevard intersection. There's 2 great commercial centers in there, and there's a lot of residents to the north. But there are several key sidewalk gaps where people actually have to walk out in the roadway to actually access some of those facilities. So we think there's definitely some opportunities to close in some of those gaps along that corridor. And also we think there's an opportunity to introduce a roundabout at Gardens Lake and Garden Square. The city, a few years back, had a few on-street bicycle lanes. There weren't a whole lot of them. And then with the development of Avenir, development of Alton, some opportunities to add facilities, in addition to the TPA looking to add facilities along US 1 and other corridors. The city's actually all of a sudden has a number of on-street bicycle lanes, and some relatively nice facilities as well. And there's some opportunities working with the state and other, and the county potentially on expanding that network. And so what we really focused on is what are some of the gaps in that system. And so as your Public Works Department goes out and looks to have roads to resurface, what are their opportunities to add bicycle lanes when they're redoing those roadways? And what are the priorities to make connectivity relatively quickly? So in the next 5 years, when we give the next update, you're going to be able to say that the Gardens has an extensive network of both pathways and on-street bicycle lanes within the overall community. And it's just Lake Victoria, north of near the mall, Kyoto Gardens. It's a 4-lane divided roadway today, and there's some opportunities if those roads are resurfaced to add bicycle lanes in there relatively quickly, and that would help to provide additional connectivity with some of the other planned projects around the mall. And then lastly, we have a transit plan, and this is primarily based on if and when rail service does come into the city, whether it be Tri-Rail or a stop for Brightline at some point in the future. Your TOD envisions some level of transit service in the future. The prior plan had 4 circulators that came out from that center. We've added another one that would go out to US 1. And then we've also added, as part of a project, a longer-term corridor study to evaluate what type of transit service could or couldn't be provided along North Lake Boulevard to serve the western portions of the city. So we have proposed that as something for the TPA, FDOT, and the city and county to study and to look at what opportunities there are to enhance mobility to the western portions of the city. One of the key features, depending on where the station will be located at, is the opportunity to introduce a pedestrian overpass over alternate A1A, over the FEC Railroad, to provide connectivity along both areas of the TOD area and to promote mobility and access through that. And so this is just sort of one example of, the Gardens is great with its public art. This is just a concept, but ultimately it would be an amazing opportunity to do a feature piece within the Gardens, showcasing both your artistic abilities of the city and also showing a great place for people to walk and bicycle. And even further on that, making better use of Lake Victoria and implementing additional shared use pathways there and providing additional green space as the area continues to develop. And so with that, those are sort of the mobility plan projects that serve as the basis for the fee itself. All those projects feed into the calculation of mobility fees. Right now, today, Palm Beach County's road impact fee, which is still in place west of the Beeline Highway, any of the money that's paid by developments there, that area that you see in the light beige is called District 3. Funds collected in Avenir can be spent in Wellington, can be spent in Royal Park or Royal Palm, spent in portions of West Palm and portions of Green Acres. It's roughly actually 13 miles from North Lake Boulevard all the way to the southern boundaries of that. And so the county can spend its road impact fees anywhere in that area. One thing that this mobility plan will do is say those funds paid by new development are spent in Palm Beach Gardens or to the areas directly south of North Lake Boulevard. And also likely in District 1, this is a big discussion over the current fee. Any of those fees could be spent in Jupiter, Tequesta, anywhere in a relatively large area. The mobility fees, once they're controlled and paid by development in the city, are largely spent in the city. And this is the area that you see in the darker outline is the current city limits, and the area that you see in the lighter outline is recognizing that people don't just stop at the city limits. People go through enclaves, they travel throughout the community, or they travel into adjacent areas. So there would be some opportunities to spend mobility fees outside the city to partner with either the county, DOT, or an adjacent municipality to help advance some mobility projects. The mobility fee gets into a lot of technical detail. I'm not going to go into all these calculations. I'd be happy to answer any of those. If you really want to get into it, I held a one-on-one on that. But there's a lot of detail and data and analysis that goes into determining how a mobility fee is calculated. That's the results, and I'm not going to try to make you read that. We actually have some better examples of what this all means in reality. So today, the citywide mobility fee calculated is for a single-family home is $2,800 per 1,000 square feet. One of the things we did in the recent impact fee update is we went from a per dwelling unit to a per square foot fee. So smaller units paid less, larger units paid more. And we have a separate analysis to show that as units get larger, more people live there, more trips go there, and they have a larger overall impact. So we've carried over that same concept into the mobility fees. So for a 3,500 square foot house, which is fairly typical for a single family home within the Gardens, the new mobility fee would be $10,000 for a 3,500 square foot house. It will vary. If somebody did a smaller home, they're going to pay less. If they did a larger home, they'd pay more, but on average, it would be roughly $10,000. Today, east of the Beeline, that fee is $6,600, but it was based on the old tier system, so it's capped at 2,500 square feet. Anything above that pays the same rate per square footage. So it's a little bit different type of a system. The city still assesses its old road impact fee west of the Beeline, so out in the Avenir development, all those areas up there, they would still pay the city's road impact fee and the county's road impact fee today. So over there, their combined totals are roughly $7,500 for a single family home. The county has still been insisting that the city should be collecting its road impact fee plus the mobility fee. And the city actually was doing that for a little while. And so what that was actually resulting in is a fee of $12,000, $12,252 per dwelling unit. So that's actually a decrease in the fee that was being charged up till just recently for a single-family home. So one thing to keep in mind is, as part of the new legislation, as part of this new fee, the city will have to set aside a share of some of the funds it collects to make improvements to county facilities, sidewalks, bike lanes, crossings on a military trail, on a central, whatnot. So it's not just you're collecting this money and you can only spend it on city roads. You will, and hopefully eventually the county will come around and enter into an interlocal agreement. You will be spending some of these funds on county roads because the county won't be charging its fee anymore. So depending on how you look at the analyses, west of the B line, the fee would be going up some from the existing rate of $7,700. It would go up to $10,000. It would actually come down on the east side from $12,000 to $10,000. Similarly, for multifamily, the new citywide mobility fee is $5,100 per 1,000 square feet. Most of your multifamily units, which are apartments, are about 1,000 square foot in size. So that number is pretty representative. Today, the mobility fee is $3,800. The out west, it's $3,500 between the city and county. If you look at the city's mobility fee and the county's road impact fee, it's actually $6,300 per dwelling unit. So the fee would actually be lower on the east side. And it's $3,500 on the west today, so it would be roughly $1,500 more than it is presently. And the one other part to consider, the only thing that's common between the city's road impact fee out west, the county's road impact fee out west, and the mobility fee today is they all have a dollar amount. That's the only thing that's common, is a dollar associated with development. They're all different methodologies. They were all conducted at different time frames. You know, the city's road impact fee goes all the way back to 2017. The city's mobility fee is 2019. The county's road impact fee is 2022. So when we look at the city's mobility fee today, it's 2025. And that accounts for all the inflation that's happened since COVID. So when you look at these numbers, oh, it's a little bit higher, it's a little bit lower. Well, some of these numbers are upwards of 10 years old. So if they were based on today's numbers, you would actually see a much smaller reduction in those differences. Likewise, for an office building, it's pretty close today. The mobility fee would be roughly $7,100. The city and counties is $7,800 east. It's $6,600 west of the B line. Retail rates, today the projected mobility fee would be $11,000 per 1,000 square feet. The existing city and county is almost $17,000. The existing city and county west is $11,000. So it's almost the same between the two of those. So with that, there is, depending on how you look at the numbers, some of these fees are increasing over the existing rates. One of the things you had to make a decision of when you made the update of the road impact or the impact fees for parks, for public buildings, for police and fire, is would you cap those? Florida statute says you can't increase them more than 50% over the existing rate, and then any increase has to be phased in over a 4-year period. So should you not move forward with a finding of extraordinary circumstances, we would look at what the existing rates are today, to the extent we can, calculate those, and then say the maximum increase could be 50%, and it would have to be phased in. Or you can make a finding of extraordinary circumstances and adopt those fees at the fully calculated rate. And if it's done right, you're doing this 5 years from now, you're not going to have to go through extraordinary circumstances again, because it's based on a plan, it's based on one unified system, It's going to be kept up with inflation. So really, this is an opportunity to get a system that works once, with the idea that you don't have to continually do this. And there is currently a bill proposed in the legislature right now to add further requirements to extraordinary circumstances. One of them is it has to be a plan-based fee, which this meets the criteria. The other, they've added a bunch of different other factors. I don't know if it would meet all those, and I don't know if it will necessarily pass or not, but it is a goal of the builders statewide and legislature to define further extraordinary circumstances. So this may be one of the last opportunities that you have to make this decision based on factors that affect Palm Beach Gardens. The factors that they're going to look at are generic factors at a statewide level. And some of those are extraordinary growth. The city's been growing faster than the county. The city's actually been growing faster than the state of Florida in terms of a percentage basis over the last 40 years. So one of the metrics we look at is Florida's growing extraordinarily fast as a state. If you're growing faster than the state, generally means you have pretty extraordinary growth. And that's something that we've actually seen in this community. Likewise, we also looked at the future. Are you going to continue to grow as quick as the state of Florida? And yes, we actually project that the city potentially will grow even faster than the state of Florida going forward. The city's also projected to have an increase in traffic over the next 20 plus years that would rival that of the state of Florida. The city has made a commitment to look at various funding opportunities and has been successful in securing funding opportunities and working with its partners to secure those. So we feel that, even though these fees are going up, the city's also made some reasonable efforts to add additional funding or to recognize funding that could come along for those road projects. Since the fee was adopted in 2019 to today, these just kind of give you some ideas of the increases of the plans. The cost of the road and intersection plan's gone up 150%. The cost of the bicycle plan has gone up 116%. The off-street pathways have gone up fairly significantly, 356%, and the transit plan's almost doubled, on average roughly 160%. At the national level, inflation's been tracking fairly high. Typically, historically, it's averaged about 3% a year. Just over the last 5 years alone, it's averaged 13% a year, and Florida is actually running much higher than that level. We've also looked at an opportunity that the current schedule for the mobility fee and the road impact fee has 47 and 50 uses on it. The mobility fee schedule, based on the new impact fees, I believe has 21. So it's something that's far more streamlined, something that's easier to use, and something that's more reflective of development in the city. These are just some of the fees itself. And then, as Joanne had mentioned earlier, right now when you come in for a permit, you're actually looking at 4 different fee schedules to determine the fees east and west of the interstate, each of them done at a different time, done with a different consultant. This would help to streamline that overall process so there would be one fee schedule going forward. And depending on how you look at it, if you look at just the city and the county, some of the fees are actually lower. Quite a few of them are lower. If you look at the west side or just the city in isolation, the percentages are increasing. Could we have made a case you don't even have to consider extraordinary circumstance? We could have, but I think to be fair and to be safe, we went through the process to say, worst case scenario, yes, we are recognizing there's an increase, but we feel that the city should look at adopting the full fees because there are a lot of factors that are increasing. And all this is documented in the materials that are online. So in our findings, and you will have to, one of the provisions of statute is there is a supermajority finding of the city council or a commission to vote for extraordinary circumstances. So 4 of the 5 of you all will have to vote for that. If you don't, then it has to go back to the legislature, or the legislative caps saying no more than 50% and then phased in over a 4-year period. So again, we feel that the city's had extraordinary growth in the past. It's going to continue having extraordinary growth in the future. Feel that the city's done a good job in terms of, as much as it can, mitigating the impact to new development by identifying funding sources for these projects. Inflation is real, and it's hit the city by 160+% over the last 5+ years. At a national level, and these are all the big national DOTs, not necessarily local governments, they have far greater pricing power than you do. But even there, they've experienced inflation of 63%, or roughly 13% per year, which is, astronomical compared to overall norms. And then finally, there would be a simplified process. You would be replacing the county's fee. There would be one schedule moving forward. And so hopefully when you do this update again in the future, you won't have to make this finding. So we are recommending a finding of extraordinary circumstances based on the study. We do recommend you all adopt the fee at the fully calculated rate. And we'd open it up for any questions. And again, I will remind you, the follow-on process of this would be, negotiating or attempting to negotiate with Palm Beach County an interlocal agreement to make improvements to the county roadways, because there would only be one fee within the city. And that is a statutory requirement of that. You can only negotiate if you have 2 willing partners to negotiate, but the city at least make its best efforts to do so. So with that, I know it's a lot to cover, it's a lot of detail. This is just the first reading, so there will be opportunities if you have questions between now and the second reading and you want some more information on this. We're definitely available to answer any of those questions that you may have. And myself, Natalie, and Joanna are available if you have any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Jonathan.
Just a couple closing remarks before we move on.
Perfect.
Regarding public notice. The city advertised the Ordinance 3 and Ordinance 4 in the Palm Beach Post, but due to the special nature of this plan, we did email notice to the development community members, Palm Beach County, adjacent municipalities, and other agencies. To meet the requirements of the extraordinary circumstances finding, we did hold 2 public workshops on March 18th, and we also have all this information posted on the city's website for mobility, so all the information is available. The Planning and Zoning and Appeals Board recommended approval. And should the council approve on first reading this evening and second reading in May, the anticipated effective date of the fees is August 5th, and staff recommends approval.
Thank you. So I do not have any comment cards on this item, so I am going to close the public hearing and bring it back to the council for a vote, and then discussion if needed.
I'll make a motion to approve Ordinance 3, 2025 on first reading.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Does anyone have any questions, comments, discussion?
Thank you for the information. Every time I see the information and meet with staff, I learn a lot more, and there's certainly a lot to absorb. So thank you, and thanks for your patience with all this. Joanne, thanks for updating the date of when everything would be implemented, which is August 5th. Is that right? Okay. And the projects, there's a lot of projects that are in the process that have gone through approval, that are going to go through approval. How do you determine what gets the new fee and the old fee based on what's in the pipeline now? Is it shovel in the ground? Is it when they pulled the permit? When is that determined?
The new fee, which would be effective August 5th of this year, would then come into effect at any time a permit is issued. That is when the new fee is paid. So it is at the time of issuance of permit.
Okay. What else do I have? And how long is the process to determine who gets funding for what, for the extraordinary circumstances? So when you were looking at a project, how long does it take to determine which projects are going to go for a grant and things like that? So, do you understand what my question is? Sorry, it might be.
I think I'll try. So the extraordinary circumstances is really, it's a threshold that's established in statutes, and it basically says your fees can't exceed a certain percentage, and if they do, then you have to go through these steps in this process. And because out of an abundance of caution, many of our fees, if you just look at the number and not the methodology, it does appear that certain limited categories, they are increasing. We've gone through this process. So really, that's a separate process. The extraordinary circumstances is more of like a process that one has to go through in order to recommend the fees that are before you this evening. The project selection is something that Joanne slightly covered. You know, there's really a whole plan that's before you in the mobility plan, and it's very comprehensive. And as you can see, there's not a priority. It's not number one, number two, number three. So when a development comes forward, and we do anticipate growth, we do anticipate a tremendous response in the market as we continue to flourish in the TOD area and others, those developers will have to provide a site assessment study. And then under that site assessment study, we will turn to this plan and we will say, all right, well, in this plan, these are the obligations, or these are the plans that we have, envisioned and council has adopted. So those projects will naturally bubble up as those projects move forward. So there will be a response from this plan, drawing from this plan, from those projects that are seeking to build. And so the areas in which they move forward will sort of naturally bring out the priority of those projects. In addition to that, you have other projects that are then selected through our capital improvements projects, which are done every year. It's a fully transparent process that we have. Joanne showed the website as part of the presentation. That's done every year. And that also depends on mobility fee absorption. How much do we have? What can we do? And then in addition to that, we have other low-hanging fruit where, we have for example, on the agenda this evening, we have TPA grants where the City Council has authorized staff moving forward at the request to beautify Military Trail, which is actually a county facility, and we did receive the consent to provide shade trees and enhanced multimodal path, and then hopefully leverage those grant funds, and all we have to pay is the design fees if we are successful. So fingers crossed on that one. So I hope that kind of addresses the priority. It's sort of a combination of all multiple processes.
Thank you, appreciate it. And I know you had a workshop recently, and you also emailed this out to various developers and people who have projects that we know are coming in the pipeline and things like that. Has there been any feedback, or did you get any response from that?
Generally speaking, the turnout was quite low on the workshops. We did have a couple folks attend in the morning. We did have quite a few inquiries. I would say most of the inquiries that we received from the development community were those living in Avenir and Alton, were the builders in Avenir. They wanted to seek clarification that their prop share would be in effect and its status quo. They were reassured, and I think you can see in the staff report and in the presentation that was made by staff that the prop share remains. Those dollars collected, they all stay within the prop share, and fortunately, those improvements listed in the prop share agreement primarily funnel that money to North Lake Boulevard, which is exactly what we wanted. So, and because of that, North Lake improvements have been able to move forward. So that is one good thing on the prop share agreement. But that's really been its main questions, comments. We have not received. We received recognition from the DOT district secretary, who took the time to open and review our entire mobility plan and commended the city on its efforts. So that was a very nice response. Thank you, Joanne. And I would say no. That really pretty much summarizes it.
Okay, thank you very much. So thanks.
Oh, absolutely. Councilmember Kemp, do you have anything to add or?
No, I met with staff on Tuesday, and they answered all my questions then.
Great. Councilmember Paramaso? Nope.
Let's see. Well, Well, first of all, I want to thank you so much for the outreach that you did for the developers and for our residents. We have some of our residents here tonight that were actually at the events, and we appreciate you guys showing up. It's really wonderful. So just to say, this is exciting. The timing couldn't be any better with a bill going through right now that could change extraordinary circumstances. So the fact that Jonathan and staff have worked together so beautifully to get things done expeditiously to avoid something we may not have any control over in the future with the legislatures. And again, staff answered a lot of huge questions for me. We had a lot of questions during agenda review. A few things that I was glad to hear is to see the integration of mobility to change traffic, and there'll be, if we could just have a crystal ball and that moment when you're on your bike on PGA and Military while there's traffic at a standstill and you zoom by, that's when you're going to know that this was the right thing to do. And there's going to be a lot of it. So we look forward to it. That's all I have, ma'am.
Thank you. I'll add, thank you. I appreciate all of you, Jonathan and the entire team that had a hand in this, because I know that this has been something that you guys have been working on for quite some time. It is definitely forward-thinking, done very thoughtfully, and very much appreciated. I know that you guys have been working on this for years and years and years. This is not an easy task, and you guys did it so well. The presentation, I had a lot of questions also during agenda review, and I learned even more during that question and answer session, which I feel it's very clever that you guys have done your own database collection and use that now for all of the projects. And the project list that was recommended by all of you is excellent. I feel like the RCA plan that was shown here would be a huge reliever, traffic reliever for PGA Boulevard, along with others. So that is excellently thought out. And I know that a lot of bicyclists use RCA, and actually yesterday, speaking of Military Trail, I know you just mentioned that, there were 3 bicyclists traveling on Military Trail in a very small area right next to the cars that were going by right, south of PGA, which this would be very helpful with that too. The roundabout slide and ideas are excellent. It keeps traffic moving forward, and these are all the things that keeps the traffic flowing instead of stopping and having to deal with traffic signals and traffic signalization issues and all of the things that we all hear so much about. So thank you very much for doing this. Great effort, and I appreciate it. So now we can call for a vote. All in
I
favor?
want to ask for, I'm sorry, go ahead, yes. Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And none opposed. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Now moving on to ordinance 4, 2025. Could the clerk please read the record?
Ordinance 4,
Title?
2025, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, amending Chapter 78 Land Development at Article 3, Development Review Procedures by repealing Division 4, citywide impact fees and mobility fees, and readopting same as revised, in order to revise the city's impact fee and mobility fee schedule in accordance with the most recent localized data for mobility, providing for and declaring the findings of extraordinary circumstances that necessitate the adoption of the updated mobility fees at the fully calculated rate as of the effective date of this ordinance, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
Thank you, Patty. I'm going to open the public hearing. And do we need any additions, any other, since we already had the presentation combined? I do not have any comment cards on this issue, or item, so I'm going to close the public hearing and bring it back to the council for a motion and/or discussion.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carries 5-0. Okay, moving on to Resolution 2025-06, 5, 2025. Would the clerk please read the title?
Resolution 25, 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving a site plan for an Avenir Plan Community Development, PCD, entry features located at the intersection of Panther National Boulevard, the northern extension of 140th Avenue North, and North Lake Boulevard is more particularly described herein, providing conditions of approval, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
Thank you, Patty. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask for any ex partes. Any ex partes?
None for me.
None for me.
Okay. No, no, none for you. And I'll just say Dana will mention it when she gets back. Okay, do we have a, yep, we have a staff presentation. Ken Tuma.
Good evening, Ken Tim with Urban Design Studio. My address is 610 Clematis Street, West Palm Beach, Florida, 33401. I've been sworn in. Congratulations, Councilmember Kemp. Nice to meet you, sir. Congratulations, Madam Mayor. I am here this evening on behalf of Avenir Development. What is in front of you this evening is a PCD entry feature. It is the third entry feature and the final entry feature on North Lake Boulevard. So I'm going to walk you through about 4 or 5 slides. I'm used to having Councilmember Woods tell me to go faster, but I'm going to take my time tonight. I've got only 4 slides. So what is in front of you this evening is the entry feature on the furthest west side of the parcel. There are 3 entry features that exist today. The first one was completed in 2023. That's the main entry feature on Avenir Drive. Immediately to the west is Coconut Boulevard. That entry feature was constructed in 2024. And what is in front of you this evening is Panther National Boulevard, which sometimes is known as 140th Street, which is a road to the south. So Avenir Drive, the entry feature is constructed. You can see it on the screen in front of you, the use of water, oolite, and then also the cupola feature. There is a mirrored entry feature on both sides. As you go further west on the project, you now have the Coconut Boulevard one, which is constructed. And here it is in visual form on the screen in front of you. And that is constructed today, the use of water, oolite, as part of the design process. So the feature being proposed tonight on the western edge of the project on Panther National Boulevard is a design that is very similar, mirroring those items. It has oolite and it has the cupola feature, just a little different take on the cupola feature. This is an iron ore feature. You'll note the use of oolite and the water fountains and all the other items associated with the entry feature that is mirrored on both sides of the roadway. So just a quick summary of some of the key components. You'll notice the oolite cladding, then there's these the water features, and then also there's scuffer water features. There's also this iron ore dome, and then also there's a decorative lighting feature in the middle. And again, this is mirrored on both sides, so it's on the west side and the east side of the road. A significant amount of landscaping and a lot of thought went into the landscaping design here to be consistent with what's been going on down on North Lake Boulevard, but also to make just a little bit different. This has bougainvillea on the trellises, the use of royal palms, and also Japanese privet trees, and then as you can see, the multi-layer landscape beds associated with it. The overall size of the structure, it's about 26 feet high, it's 43 feet long, and the sign is 10 feet. It meets all of your code requirements. We are not requesting any waivers. We have your staff recommendation of approval this evening. We have your planning and zoning board recommendation of approval, and respectfully request your approval this evening so this entry feature can be constructed. Happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
That was very quick.
Thank you.
Brett, do we have any additions?
Madam Mayor, no additional presentation. Staff does recommend approval, and as Ken mentioned, Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval in March as well.
Awesome, thank you. I do not have any comment cards on this, so I'm going to close the public hearing. Oh, actually, before I do that, Dana, do you have any ex partes? I just wanted to.
No.
Okay, and I'll mention that I don't either. Close the public hearing and bring it back to a vote.
Do you have any discussion?
Oh, a vote and then a discussion, yes. A motion, sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2025.
We have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Anybody want to ask any questions or discuss.
Looks great. I love to see it all coming together and, you know, the third entry feature, and it's a great addition, and thank you for the thought that goes into it.
It's amazing. It's the 9th year of Avenir, and we're doing the final entry feature.
Pretty phenomenal.
Okay. Anybody else?
So I just want to say it's really wonderful to see the original entry feature echoed again and again everywhere. And a million years ago when I was on the zoning board and you said oolite stone for the first time and I ever heard
You're
it.
like, what's that? I said, I don't know. I just learned a few weeks ago.
And all of us, you know, that have been sitting up here on the zoning board have gotten to hear it. And it's a funny word, but it just shows the consistency and the planning that's gone into this. So thank you. It looks beautiful.
And that oolite really came from one of the owners, a gentleman named Manny Mato, has it in his backyard and really loves it.
How about that? Thanks.
Anybody else? No? Very good. I agree. Perfect placement for the Royal Palms. Thank you. It's the perfect spot. And thank you. I don't have any other things. It looks great, and I concur with Councilmember Reed's comments as well. Great consistency. Bring it back for a vote then. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And none opposed. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Moving on to Resolution 2026-2025. Would the clerk please read the title?
Resolution 26, 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving a site plan for a clubhouse and associated recreational amenities located on a 5.84-acre parcel within Esprit at Avenir, Part 16, a guardhouse and a residential entry feature, the subject site being generally located northwest of the intersection of Avenir Drive and Panther National Boulevard, as more particularly described herein, providing conditions of approval, providing waivers, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
Thank you, Patty. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask for any ex partes. Any?
No.
No ex partes, and I
No.
don't have any either. And now we have Ken's favorite landscape architect, Wendy Tu, wanted to do a presentation.
Good evening, Wendy Tuma with Urban Design Studio. I have been sworn in. My address is 610 Clematis, West Palm Beach, Florida. Tonight I have the Esprit at Avenir, or Pod 16 Clubhouse and Amenity Parcel and Entry Feature. We did receive a recommendation of approval from Planning and Zoning last month, and we have staff support as well. We're requesting site plan approval for the amenity center located within Pod 16, shown in red. The amenity center will be serving the residents of the Esprit community. The Esprit community, or Pod 16, is an active adult community featuring 491 home sites. It was approved by your council in 2023. Here is the site plan for the amenity center. As far as access, the main access lines up with the entrance to the community, and then we also have a secondary access point directly into the community, a service access, and then multiple golf course and pedestrian access points. There's a total of 121 parking spaces and 32 golf cart spaces. The site is just under 6 acres, and the clubhouse itself is 31,000 square feet. There will be a resort-style pool as well as a lap pool, pickleball courts, a yoga lawn, lots of landscaping, a stage, and an entertainment lawn. Here is the elevation of the clubhouse. It is a single-story contemporary architecture, and it features 3 wings, a fitness wing, a social wing, and a dining wing. And we have some 3D renderings. This is the porte cochere as you approach the clubhouse. And another view. Here's an aerial view showing the resort-style pool. Here is the beach area, which features hammocks and lots of lush landscaping. The entertainment lawn. More amenities for the residents to use. We are proposing 8 pickleball courts in the southeast corner of the of the amenity parcel. There will be a restaurant pavilion to serve them, as well as shaded canopies, picnic tables, convenient golf cart parking, and bicycle parking. And the other component of our application is the entry feature and guardhouse, which mimics the architecture of the clubhouse with a contemporary style. Here you can see the entry sign itself as well as the guardhouse. We are requesting a waiver to allow for an additional sign, which is this logo with the red circle around it, which is on the gatehouse. Staff supports our waiver request. And that concludes my presentation. I do have the architect as well as representatives from Coulter here tonight if you had any questions.
Thank you, Wendy. Brett, do we have any staff presentation?
Madam Mayor, no additional staff presentation. Staff does recommend approval of the petition along with the waiver, and planning and zoning recommended approval as well.
Thank you. And I do not have any comment cards on this, so I'm going to close the public hearing. And can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 26, 2025.
Have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Does anyone have any comments? I would like to ask any questions or discussion.
No tennis courts.
No tennis courts.
Only
just
pickleball courts.
Only
Okay.
pickleball.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify. I was surprised because I thought tennis was pretty popular still, so I was kind of surprised.
Anybody else?
No, staff answered all my questions also on Tuesday.
Okay, great. So now I would like to bring it back for a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we're quickly moving on to Resolution 15, 2025. Would the clerk please read the title?
Resolution 15, 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving the appointment and/or reappointment of 3 regular members to the Budget Review Board, providing an effective date for other purposes.
Thank you, Patty. Do we have any discussions? Any comments? Nope. Okay. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion on Resolution 15, 2025 to reappoint Andrew Cometer and Mark Schulte to the board, and then adding David Diven as the 5th member.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments, discussions? Nope. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No, aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. And thank you to everyone that's volunteering. We appreciate everything. And now moving on to Resolution 29, 2025. Would the clerk please read the title?
Resolution 29, 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving the appointment of regular and alternate members to the Planning, Zoning, and Appeals Board, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
Thank you, Patty. Any discussion or offers?
I'd like to make a motion for Resolution 29, 2025 to continue having regular members Charles Millar and Howard Brown, and bring on an alternate today, which would be Peter Robbins. And I also want to I think I see a couple of them out in the audience. So I see Peter Robbins is here and Charles Millar, so thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Awesome. Any comments? No. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you guys also. Appreciate the opportunity that you are giving us to volunteer for these boards. Okay. And moving on, I think we have the last thing is the council action. Hold on one second. Flipping my page here. Okay, items for council discussion, and one of the items we have is the appointments to the external boards and committees. I know Patty gave us a very big 11 by 17 sheet. You want to go through that line by line, or how would you like to do that? Perfect. Okay. League of Cities, I have the first thing on the item we have is, if you want to do that, guys want to go through it line by line, and then we can.
Yeah, I got it.
So we have the Palm Beach County League of Cities. I'm happy to do that. I know everyone has an opportunity to go, and Chelsea's on the, you're the chairman of the League of Cities, so.
Yes, I'm the president.
The president, thank you. And would you guys like to continue it the way it is and then just substitute?
What I'd like to say is that, we have one person who's the appointee, which means that that person should be coming to the monthly meetings, which take place at different locations throughout the county. It's an excellent opportunity to actually spend time with county commissioners, with your state reps and your state senators or their staff. They all come. As well as it's an important thing to actually show up for. So if you're going to be the appointee, I know that we're all the alternates. I would encourage you to look at your calendar and make sure that you're available the third Thursday of every month, because someone should be going.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And if the board would like to continue with that, I'm happy to do it.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay. Awesome. North County Intergovernmental.
That's you.
Yep, that's the mayor. Okay. And who would like to be the alternate?
I'll be the alternate on that one.
The Palm Beach County Transportation, I would love for you to continue on that. You've done an excellent job. If you would like to continue, that would be awesome. You've been an excellent member of the TPA.
I sincerely appreciate that, and I'm not trying to sound ego-y. I am the chair, so it would be very disruptive to
Absolutely.
change that right now.
Yeah.
So that would be great. Thank you.
Okay.
That would be great.
Perfect. Thank you. Seacoast Utility Authority.
That's still Ron. Yeah.
And I'd like to keep it that way. Is that okay
Yep.
with everyone? Perfect. Do we need to have an alternate for that?
No, Ron hasn't missed a meeting in 20 years.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's a 163 board, so they're formed by an local agreement, so they're
Okay,
appointed, they're
perfect.
appointed.
Okay, and Palm Beach Workforce Alliance Consortium?
You.
Yep, okay.
I'm happy to be the second on that.
Perfect. The Palm Beach North Economic Development Committee. Dana, would you like to continue with that? Anybody?
I can, or if John wants to share that one or the next one, I'm
I'd
happy
love to be a part of either one of those, so if you want to take one, I take one, or we share it, whichever way you want
Yeah,
to do it.
I'll do the Thursday one, you do the Friday one.
Perfect.
Great. And Palm Beach North Government Affairs.
For economic development, I can be the alternate for Dana.
Perfect.
Got the same.
Okay,
Government affairs, that's going to be John. And then everybody else can be an alternate.
perfect. And the Loxahatchee River Consortium.
I'll do Loxahatchee River Consortium.
And alternate? I'm happy to stay as alternate. Great, thank you. And Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council is an appointment by the League of Cities. So that stays. Multi-jurisdictional Issues Coordination Forum is typically the mayor, and I guess the vice mayor would be the.
I'm happy to interject on that one. So this is the Multi-Jurisdictional Issues Coordination Forum is called MCFIC, and it is a forum that brings the county and the cities together. It would be an honor to be able to continue for the year, as this has been the implemental location for the collaboration that's taken place in the last year. That's really, it's delicate. And the executive committee is made out of 2 county commissioners and city council members that are appointed by the League of Cities. If someone else wants to try to jump in and do it, that's great. It's going to take a lot of onboarding, and it's very delicate. So it would be prudent for the city to leave it as is. However, if that's the case, it would be really also prudent for someone else to come along to allow for that continuum.
Okay?
So
Comments?
we'll leave it as is?
Leave it as is with you as the alternate to come along as well?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Okay with that?
That's fine. Okay. Very good. And now we have, anybody else have any items for council discussion?
If it's possible, I'd love to give a legislative update.
Absolutely.
So recently, the Florida League of Cities went to legislative action days on March 25th. Very different from Palm Beach County Days. Palm Beach County Days is a little bit more of a social gathering and important. Legislative action days are meant specifically for you to spend the time with your House and your Senate leaders. You meet with all of them, and even if you aren't sitting in front of them, you're running into the elevator or having lunch with them or doing things like that. So it is not a conference or anything that is considered a waste of money or anything like that. This is actually sitting in front of your legislators or going to committee meetings and testifying about something that's important for the city. So it's the opportunity for the city's issues to actually be heard by the people who are voting on them. And why does that matter? Well, because one of the most important things that's coming up currently is a consideration of property taxes. And if the governor has utilized his power in the executive branch to encourage the legislative branch to look into that, to put it on the ballot in 2026, I sure hope that a bunch of cities are going to come up there and let them know that that's not going to work out really well. In the city of Palm Beach Gardens alone, as I'm sure everyone in this room knows, of the 90-odd million that we collect in ad valorem, most of it, short just a little bit, is spent on our public safety. So a change in property taxes would be devastating for all cities and all counties. So that's why we go up there and why we advocate. It is not a waste of time. And I will tell you that during that time, meeting with our senators that represent Palm Beach Gardens and our House reps that represent Palm Beach Gardens, they had no appetite to support a change in property taxes. So that is why you go, is to find out those things. Because sometimes if you watch the news, it doesn't sound like that necessarily, right? If you watch the news, and I was asked to be on the news about it, they make it sound like it's happening tomorrow. If the property tax was to go forward, it would be on the ballot in 2026. Again, it's not sounding like it. There is a bill, I think it's 352, that Martin's pushing through that would allow PAGA to do some studies. That's kind of reasonable, because I think if they looked at the city of Palm Beach Gardens and the completely transparent budget online and the transparent mobility fees and the transparent changes with the impact fees, they would see that there's no wasteful government spending here in our city. So that's just property taxes alone. I brought each council member a card of the legislative issues that were important to the Florida League of Cities. The city manager received one as well. Even a small town like Lake Worth Beach sent 3 council members to meet with their legislative representatives. So it is important, is impactful, and really glad that we got House Bill 479 done last year, because this year is a very different year in the legislature. So if it's okay, I'll continue to update you guys. I'm going up, I think, two or three more times in the next month and a half, and we'll continue to work on property taxes and a couple of other things that are really important to our public safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any other items to bring up? No?
Just one comment. Earlier this week, Dana and I and Chief Breyer sit on the Palm Beach Gardens Medical Center Governing Board, and one of the administrative managers at the hospital had some concerns over the recent violence that's happened in hospitals, Palms West being one and some on the West Coast. So I want to thank Representative Caruso, because he got on a Zoom call meeting with us on Tuesday, even during their busy legislative session, with me and this individual, and we kind of talked out some issues and kind of learned a little bit about policy and what the state of Florida has in place now. I learned a little bit about his background, his history with his family stuff. So we're going to try to come up with some ideas over the summer, maybe have some workshops or meetings with business professionals and the hospital staff to talk about some legislative ideas that you might be able to put through next year's session with regards to nurses or doctors or staff safety in hospital dealing with particular patients who are brought in under stress. So we're working on that. That could be something that comes together this summer for next year. And I know Palms West, I think recently just signed up with the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office, I believe, to have an armed officer now on campus 24/7. We don't say every hospital should be like that, but I think safety of the workers in those hospitals and also protecting the patients who are there from individuals that might not belong there and need to go somewhere else. We're kind of working through that issue. So I want to, again, thank Representative Caruso and his staff for allowing that Zoom meeting and having that discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a city attorney report?
A brief explanation. I'm dressed like this because I'm getting ready to go to an event at Mar-a-Lago. So that's why I'm in a tuxedo. I don't normally attend these meetings in a tuxedo, but as soon as we're over, I'm out of here because apparently I'm going to get to meet Attorney General Pam Bondi and Matt Gaetz and the president's there, so I got to go.
Well, you look excellent. Thank you, and we appreciate you can come to our council meetings in a tux anytime. Do we have a motion to adjourn? I guess we don't need a motion.
We're out.
We're adjourned. Thank you.